Howdy. As you may have guessed it, I'm out here in the apple orchard picking up drops. You see this little spot? That's why the orchardist left it behind. He couldn't sell it, or it dropped on the ground. Now, I don't know if I like this tradition of picking up apples or shaking the mulberry tree more, but we definitely get a lot more food that regular people be excited about with apple picking. Now, I'm awful grateful for the orchardist to let me come out here and pick up the drops. You know, that's kind of an art world tradition around here. We love to glean. You don't know what gleaning is? Well, I'm glad you asked, because gleaning is picking up what was left behind. You know, in the biblical times, the Israelites they would purposely sometimes leave stuff behind for the poor folk. They'd come behind and gather the wheat that was left over, or a little bit of grapes that be left behind, and that was the way the poor folk could survive, gleaning. And I'm not ashamed to glean myself. I'm picking up these apples for the church folks are coming over to my house, and we're going to turn these beautiful apples into applesauce. That's right. Everybody loves applesauce. Well, I got to get back to picking because the sun's starting to set. Well, there'll be a few distinct steps. You got to wash the apples first, and then you got to cut the apples. Now, you don't really have to cut out the seeds. Just let them in. They're good for pecking, help sort of thicken up. So why waste time and cut out the seeds? Just cut out the rot spots and use the rest.
So I always hate this question when I travel, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Even when we were coming home out of the customs or something, some guy that was in an official capacity was asking us if we enjoyed it, would we come again, what was our favorite, we did it. Right. Well, I think you and Eugene and I both agree that the Yorkshire Dales is probably our favorite. I've never been there. The what?
To visit.
To visit. Well, yeah, we're country folks, so we like to see the country there. The cathedrals and castles and palaces and all that stuff is impressive, but the countryside is really fun.
Now, you may have noticed that Apple Day is about more than applesauce and apples. It's about catching up, reflecting, have a little hot cider, just getting together as a church community. I sure do like it. Huh?
Apple Day.
Oh, you didn't realize? You thought it was just us doing it. No, this is the real Apple Day.
Just Mom and Dad and the Yorkshire Dales is part of it. This is really Apple. I'm just dropping off my kid as you're driving through. You have my name in my I work in a lot of U.S. people probably would have trouble with that.
They're pretty good farmers, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they sure do.
South High.
Well, so the apples are washed and cut. You got to stir them. It's pretty critical you don't burn them. I don't know if anybody likes smoked applesauce. This ain't just something for middle-aged folks. Youngest enjoy processing apples all the way up to the oldest.
That's in November, and then Thanksgiving, deer season, then it'll be 3 weeks will be Christmas. And then they might go to school for a couple of days.
One of the last steps, we're running it through this here contraption, separates the seeds and skins from the sauce and kind of pulverizes it. Pretty good stuff.
Gonna be in the newspaper. I shouldn't have to run around behind the house here. I'm going to be cutting that out of the video. Are you trying hard to not get into this? What are you doing audio? This is camera. Like, yeah, it's film and audio. I'm just trying to get this step right here of the... All right.
Oh, hello there. Do you remember what kind of things you played with as a child? I bet cardboard boxes were one of them. You just take anything you find lying around and it's a toy, huh? Rocks and sticks. Oh, exceedingly fun. That's right. And I bet you ate a few of those things that you found lying around when you're a wee tad. No, I don't mean the cardboard box. I mean you eat the buggy or the little stone that you find. I ate cat food one time as a little child. Yeah. So kids, they're just great at taking anything they find lying around and make a toy out of it. But then people, as they grow older, they think, oh, to be an artist, they have to have the best of everything. A paintbrush that might barter for, say, 20 chickens. That's too expensive to start out. They think they need a studio. The kitchen table will work just fine. Just start somewhere, but get a start. Same thing's true with materials. You don't necessarily need the most expensive materials just to get started. You know, say you had eggs for breakfast this morning. Take the eggshells, wash them out, and then that could be a material, art material. Look around the house. What other things do you have? Maybe you have rubber bands, bottle caps, coins, all these kind of things. Go outside. What do you have out there? Sticks, leaves, seeds, sand, little pebbles. You can make some nice art with all those. A found object mosaic. Yeah. Would you like me to show you? Well, let's go and do it. Take a half sheet of mat board for plenty of strength. Draw the outline of a large scaled creature like a dragon, a fish, a lizard, a snake, alligator. I'm going to do a salamander because you can really curve things around, have some neat shapes in this tail area, and at the same time it's almost like it has a lizard body. Now a salamander doesn't actually have. Now when you're done drawing your salamander, whoop, there it is. You want to draw echoing shapes that kind of come out around. I'm going to make the first one stay back from it pretty far, like this, to really accentuate that shape, kind of like so. And I just love echoing the shape of things that are here. It's just a very natural way to create the design. So we have this outline the whole way around, and then you go out and you make another
echoing line. Maybe not as close together as the last ones. Do that the whole way around. You can create some variation. Let's say I get out here, I want to do something a little bit different. You certainly can do that, but that's a starting point. So next we're going to add watercolor to it. We've got our little tray of watercolor, and here in the background we want to create a hot color or cool color, and then do the reverse. So the background's going to be cool color, bluish green, and then paint the main creature later on the scales like a hot pink possibly, or just natural. So I've already pre-mixed my color here, and I'm going to make this outline. This is going to be the darkest part of it, and then every other line will be dark also. Everything will be the same color, but every other will be darker. So these will be the dark ones. If you can see what's happening there, these will be the lighter ones. I'll come back in. Let me do a whole bunch of this and then show you. After you've paint watercolored everything, you're going to let it dry, and then we're going to glue or decoupage found objects onto the animal first. And I highly recommend eggshell. They seem very, very good. Get the scales on our salamander and put some glue down. Take a brush and spread it around, just like this, over an area of probably about this size. Okay. Now, as I said, we were going to use eggshells, and it's hard to move them. So I like to take a little glue on the tip of this and touch it to the scale, and you can see it floats that scale around. And we've got one there. A little more glue, and start moving them in. My personal preference is to do the edges first and then fill in the centers. It's because then I can get the flat shape that I'm looking for. And these brown eggs have a dark side, a brown side, and a lighter side, and I can use a mix of them this way. I like to kind of alternate them, have a brown side up and then a light side up, kind of like so, keeping them fairly close together, right? Getting a little bit low on glue over in this area, so I might add some. Brush it around. You don't want it swamped, but you also don't want it too little glue. It's nice to have kind of a pond of glue there to access, to help hold the scales like so, right? So do this over the whole area, and I've found that big pieces of eggshell look kind of goofy, so or just look less good. Like, that's a bit big for what I'm doing. You probably want to break that up into smaller pieces like that. If you get up here around the eye or the hands and you need really small pieces, just break your eggshell up into many smaller pieces and use these wee little pieces like that. See that one? See that one? You can get so much nice detail with these tiny ones. Okay, let's pretend that we have scaled the entire salamander and we're ready to do the bands. We're going to skip all the dark green bands and fill in the light green bands to give contrast. Now, in these bands, you can put all kinds of things. I mean, I found small pebbles like this. The pebbles seem to work nice, kind of like the eggshell, because they're small and detailed, and they're very versatile. They go everywhere. Unlike a leaf, if I put a leaf right here, it just looks like a leaf. So I would probably have to tear this up into lots of small pieces to use it right. I have these beautiful butterfly wings, but same problem. I just put it down, looks like a butterfly. Might have to cut it into mini pieces to get it in this shape. So I have sort of some straw looking grass that could be put in. I have some weed seeds that actually work pretty good in these areas. So let me do a weed seed. I found that for these background items, we all want to use everything we found, but that gets no theme. You want to limit your found items to 2, 3, 4. Now here you see a strong bend in the pattern. This would be no problem for eggshells or pebbles, but with these weeds, it's much harder to make that bend. So I can't just lay it there to spring back out of shape. So if it's a little too wide, I can take off excess ones and so see if that seems about the right thickness. And I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to just tape down this end and then try to bend it around like so, and maybe tape it there also. So overlap this tape we have down before like that, and then I have to probably add some more glue in under here to help hold some of these stray ones. Press that down and just keep working with that till you're happy with how it conforms to the shape. Now when you get some of these to dry, you get the little piece sticking out over the edge. Just trim that back a little bit for a nice clean edge. Now, one other thing I'd like to show you is right down here. Let's say you want a very detailed area like the eye. Well, I have this sand here, and it's a very fine detail. And I can take the glue, and I can get a little bead of sand right along here, as opposed to relying on the paint to carry the image, and that makes it more of a mosaic. And we're going to sprinkle some sand on there. Tap the sand off. I like the colors, pretty natural, but if you want to put some more color in it, you can take a hot color over your, and just watercolor the scales in. I like to try to let the green come through behind it. Just nice contrast of temperature. Well, this turned out pretty nice, if I do say so myself. There we be. But all this work, I've worked up quite the appetite. I could really go for a bowl of applesauce, but all I've got is this here apple. You know what I wish? I wish the applesauce fairy would come along and wave her wand and turn this into a steaming bowl of applesauce, dusted with cinnamon, maybe sugar, and it's a nutmeg. Is that really asking too much? What's that you say? Think like a child. What do you mean? I like how you think. Smells tasty. Yeah.